Welcome to the Jamodi podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it.
What's up, Coach? Are you looking for a way to elevate your off-season skill development? Well, look no further. With the Ballogy app, you can build a workout with our library or create your own content. Send that workout to your players, and then your players complete the workout by recording their session on their phones. You can monitor and encourage competition with our leaderboards for every workout. Ballogy offers player development solutions in the palm of your hands. Get your team started today by going to ballogy.com for more info.
I can't wait to hear about your daily habits, not only as a leader in your program, but also your history with the military. And I would imagine the championship habits that you learned in that time. So, Coach, daily habits that set you up for success. What do you got?
It's funny that you said the military. I've had a command sergeant major came in a long time ago, and she said the 3 S's, they're so important: sleep, substance, and spirit. Your spirituality. So, I heard that as a young soldier, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I like the 3S concept, but I didn't sleep well. I wasn't always taking care of the substances that I chose to eat too much of or consume in one way or another. And looking at that now, that includes what you're putting into your brain, what you're looking at in social media. Are you putting positive stuff in, or are you putting junk in? So sweat, spirit, spirituality, and substance are important. I loved that from her, but it took me a long time to really figure out what that meant for me as a leader. And something I'm practicing right now has been really cool. I'm working on my doctorate at Creighton right now, and there were some people in my program, and there's this lady, she's inspiring. She's opened an entire school based off of the needs for her son, and she's got this practice every day where she gets up and she does the LT3F. And she said it's powerful for her. It helps her really bring clarity to her life. And L is basically you sit down, you think about you pray for light and clarity in your life. And so think about all the struggles and the heavy things as coaches that we have. Like sometimes that prayer is just a lightheartedness, to make sure that we're lighthearted throughout our day. Sometimes it's literal clarity that we need when we're trying to navigate a different road. And then you move on to the T, which is thankfulness. And I'm big on gratitude, but I haven't always been great on the disciplined practice of it. And so taking this from her was really cool, where you take the last 24 hours and you just think about all the things that you're thankful for that you've walked through the entire day. You try to relive that in a short reflection period. So then you move on to the 3 F's, and there's feelings that you experience as you move through that gratitude practice. Then you choose one of those feelings and you focus on it for a prayer. And then you move into the future and you think about your next day. So for example, I might have been walking through my prior day and being thankful that I can still talk to my mom. But I might have had feelings, which I did. I'm talking through what I actually felt.
Sure.
I was talking to my mom the other day, and I felt thankful that I could talk to her, but she's also about to have her 3rd knee surgery in a 6-month period due to some infections and things. So I'm a little fearful, a little worried about her. As I'm feeling the gratitude, I also feel that worry. And so I'm focused on that in a little bit of reflective prayer. And then you open up your calendar for the next 24 hours and you think, what am I doing in my next 24? And you focus on whatever feeling you have there. It could be excitement and you want to do a great job there, or it could be that you're nervous or, fearful or dreading something. And you just take time to focus in on that next 24 and pray through that. So long story short, when you're talking the spirit part of those 3 S's, I found that practice to be just so reflective for me, to allow me to have self-awareness in my life. And I didn't have that. I didn't have the idea that these are important. But as a 25-year-old soldier hearing that from a sergeant major, it was like, yeah, of course you need spirituality, but discipline is huge. And that includes your mind and discipline time in prayer or in just gathering your thoughts and tapping into how you feel is huge.
Love that. The sleep, substance, and spirit. It's funny. It kind of transported me back to early 20s, and I was living poorly and had made some really bad decisions. And my dad and I mean, it's a good relationship. It's not one of those, really close, like he's my best friend, kind of like I've always seen those types of relationships with parents and always wondered. But one thing, he was always consistently there. But during this time, he almost told me the exact same thing. Make sure that you're getting your rest, make sure you're eating well, and that you're staying in the word, that relationship is staying strong. And I think you're right on the money. And without realizing it as coaches, especially in season, I think we can miss out on all three of those really easily. Like, how often do I feel sleep deprived? I feel like I haven't eaten well. I just eat Raisinets on the way home from a game, and I haven't been in the Word. I'm not praying. I'm not spending time with God. Like, those three things, you nailed it.
So important. This was probably my best year of the sweat part with the spirit part. I like to go do that in my head while I'm running.
Yeah.
And trying to work through that. If you let one of those go, you're just spinning your wheels. It's so important as a coach that we protect those.
Yeah. Mono Watsa with PGC said that you need to sweat daily. And to me, it's like not just enough, just if I move quickly in a workout with players, that don't count. Like if I walk too fast on the sideline and I start sweating, I don't count that. We gotta be a little bit more intentional. And then thank you for sharing the LT3F. Man, I read a book. What was the name of that? Obviously, it was really good because I can't remember the name. No, but it was really good, and it was about prayer. It was about prayer, and because that is an area of my life where I feel like I've never maybe had a good attack at it, and obviously it's one of those things that you can't do it wrong. Just show up and God will take care of the rest.
Sure.
But I do like the intentionality behind that. And I could see how too, like you mentioned, look at the next 24 hours. I think it's really easy for us to look, man, I can already start looking at district play next year.
Yes.
And one of my favorite quotes is like, don't stress about unknown futures. Like we don't know what's going to happen then, but stretch it. I think this type of plan in your prayer will keep you where your feet are, keep you focused on the main thing, which is this next 24 hours. That's really good, Coach.
That is exactly what I found. It brought me more than anything, presence and self-awareness within presence. And I'm a, what's down there? I'm a planner and I'm a dreamer, but sometimes I need to, what is the next 24 hours? What do I need to get myself present to be my best version of myself in? And that has been huge for me.
How do you try to help your players through or help them navigate some of these habits or to have a little bit of a plan? Because if as adults we struggle, our teenagers struggle.
Yeah. So this one's new to me, and you're at a Christian school. I'm at a public school. So I do try to walk that space, intentionally respectful of all belief systems.
And to your point right there, you said something though, like for you and I, it's prayer, but for others, it might just be mindfulness. It might just be getting, like, how often do we unplug? How often do we not have something going on in the background? Or for our younger people, the phone in their hands, maybe it's just that for them.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm kind of a nerd in some weird ways. Like I want to know how it works for everyone. And so when I decided to do this LT3F challenge for myself, I'm like, I threw it out to some friends and I asked who wanted to do it. And I've got people that aren't religious or spiritual at all, doing the same practice every day right now, just to see. And theirs is set with intention and mindfulness. And then there's people that are Christian or, whatever. And we're all practicing it in our own way. And we've all found huge jumps with it. And so we're in day 16 as a group.
Nice.
And the nerd part of me is I'm going to ask them for some follow-ups on like day 30 and then see who wants to stick it out and build it into maybe a lifelong habit. But it's not a religion. It's religious in history. It came from, I'm not Catholic, but it came from Catholic practice. But it's just for self-awareness. And I thought I was like, this is good stuff. Let's try it out. And it's neat, regardless of religious background, that some other coaches jumped on with me. And so I may have to get back with you and let you know how they feel about it after those 30, but I wanted to know how they felt with it, because if I can give it to kids and what it does sound like to somebody that's not a Christian, that does it help you in the same way that it helps me? So I'm just doing my little nerdy behind the scenes research. That's kind of the stuff that I do. I get curious.
Yeah, honestly, to me, and being at a Christian school, we do have the freedom to steer it that way, and which I love that. But it's the light part, because obviously, all the light within us, it all comes from God. But it's, you start with clarity and just getting quiet, and then you move to gratitude, and then you see what you're feeling about. Like, I think it can work for like a team at a public school. I don't think there's anything really to be worried about, because I understand. I was at McKinney High School for 5 years, and at the age of 30, really kind of had major life change where my faith became the focus of my life, where I just kind of grown up knowing a lot of things, probably been able to pass some good Bible tests at faith, but not necessarily living it out or in my heart. But I think that's something I could have taken my players through for sure.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.